で、みんな血液型知らないの？
知らん。
今は知ってる。
19歳までは全然知らなかった。
For me, salmon, tuna, and other fish.
いやいや、salmon, another fish.
Yeah, that's it.
It's like, oh my god, Japan is so amazing. They have the hot bottles at the convenience store.
見て、これ。カブトムシ取ったからって。そういうのしないの？
しない。
逆にみんなが思う、日本人これ知らないなっていうことあったりする？
あるあるある。ゾディアックサインズ。
今日は海外の人も不思議に思っている、なぜか日本人がよく知っていることについて話してみるよ。
Let's find out!
こんにちは、全人類と友達になる男、僕がミスターウチです。そしてブンです。
アナです。
そうです。
です。
今日のテーマは海外の人も不思議な、なぜか日本人がよく知っていることについて。
Long title. That's a long title. It's the things that Japanese people know, but foreigners don't know that they know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's really hard to explain.
みんなと話してたら、なんで日本人このことにすごい詳しいのみたいな事柄が何個もあって、で今日それをね、みんなの話とあとインターネットからいろいろ情報集めてきたんで、まずどんなトピックについて日本人が海外の人より知識があるかっていう話と、なんでなんだろうっていうところまでみんなで話していけたらと思ってます。それでは行ってみましょう。はい、1個目、
これじゃん。
血液型。
そう。
Oh yeah.
いや、ちょっと待って。みんな自分の血液型知ってる？
What's the shape though? Is it square? Triangular? Does it come out in blocks?
先に進めてもいいですか？はい。で、みんな血液型知らないの？
知らん。
今は知ってる。
今は知ってる。19歳までは全然知らなかった。
まず血液型って輸血するときにすごい大切っていうのが1個と、もう1個は自分の性格が日本では血液型に関係してるんじゃないかって考え方があるから。
そうなの？自分の親が本当の親かとかじゃなくて。
Alright,
ちょっと待って、朝からブラックすぎるな。
that's true.
これ2つの観点で知ってる人が多いんだけど、
The only reason why I know is because my mom is like, if you need a blood transfusion, you need to know that you are a universal donor so that people can give you any blood that you want.
When I was in Kagawa still, I was at work, I was tasked to do some sort of like busy work thing, like staple shit together and like pile things up or something like that. And I had it in like a very nice pile, right? I was like doing stuff over here, and when I finished, I would put the paper over here, right? It was stacked up very neatly like this. And then a coworker was like, "Oh, you're very what A-gata or something like that." To me. Like, what does that mean? And she tried to explain to me like, "Oh, your blood type, right?" I'm like, "What do you mean blood type?" And she's like, "That's like, you know, there's like an A type, what's it, A type or something like that, like type A personality. We say like type A personality,
Yeah, type
B,
A, yeah.
right?" And so I've heard of that before, and so maybe I thought, like, okay, maybe they're connected in some way. But she's like, no, it's like your blood type determines your personality. And I thought that was absolute bro science. That is not.
Yeah.
確かに A 型っぽい。
Really?
A 型はどういう？
Yeah, so
A 型は
Oh, please explain each level.
Yeah, because we're fucking gaijin. So
Yeah.
正直知らない。
For gaijin versus person who care about blood type. I don't know.
A 型は真面目で物事をちゃんとする。B 型はなんか表裏がなくてマイペースな感じ。で O 型は誰とでも仲良くできるようなタイプで、 AB 型は表と裏があって天才なタイプのが多分一般的だと思う。間違ってたらすみません、コメント欄で教えてください。でなんか物事とかこうちゃんとやって社会に適合してる感じするじゃん、ちょっとバイロンと違って。だから A 型となんか B 型みたいな感じに一般的には見えるかもね。
ということは、A 型の人方が人気あるっていうこと？
日本人で例えば初めて会って B 型って聞かれたら絶対ディスられてる。
I'm going to use that now. If I don't like something, B 型?
言われる側だから。海外は血液型と性格って全然関係ないって
関係ない。
There's so many different like personality tests inside of like the West.
Yeah.
Like you know like the ENFJ, the
Myers-Briggs.
The Myers-Briggs thing. Right, that's one of the most popular personality tests.
16個くらいに分かれる。
Yes. That ENFP, I am INFJ actually. But that goes into like a really really deep conversation. And then I think when I was a kid, we used like, oh, what color are you? What color personality you have? Oh, Byron, you're like an orange. You're very free spirited. Oh, Kevin over here, he's more of a green. He's like more like condensed and serious about. I was like, I don't know, there's so many, but we never talked about blood. The only time we talked about blood was like, if you're in a car accident, you need to know that you can.
But I feel like that would make more sense, right? Because like your blood is very innate, like everyone has it, and everyone has their own kind of it, right?
Yeah.
But like, you would think that would make more sense than just being like, oh, your color is orange.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
But it's just categorizing the whole humanity into 4 categories.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
じゃあ日本人って性格は4つしかないってことね。
まあ大体そう。
Can you imagine if we looked at blood types the same way we looked at like other personality tests? Like, oh, you're A? Like, I only date Bs.
ないないそれ
Right?
Yeah.
I'm O, so I'm trying to look for a perfect fit like an A. But if you're like an AB, ooh, that's
sorry.
That's a red flag for me.
性格診断テスト16個のタイプに分かれるやつとかはちゃんとあれ100問くらいテストして自分のパーソナリティをチェックしてるからある程度正しいと思うけど確かに血液型は生まれ持ったものだから
確かに
その正しいかどうかはまあよくわかんないっていうのと多分調べたら日本と韓国が血液型と性格がリンクしてるってよく言われてるけどそれ以外の国はあんまり信じられてないはい次
はい
魚の名前
ああ確かに
Oh.
Like-
多分魚の名前だけじゃなくて、肉だけ見たらどういう魚とかしてるんですか？
あー確かに
待ってまず魚の名前知らないの
For me, salmon, tuna, and other fish.
いやいやいや知らんことないな the fish
Yeah.
Salmon, tuna, other fish.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, I watched Finding Nemo, so I know some fish. I'm not that I eat them, but I look at them.
日本人はまずその魚を分類するのに白身魚と赤身魚で分類するのね、でどういうことかって言ったら身がさ赤いやつマグロとかっていうのは赤身魚って言ってタイとか身が白いやつを白身魚って言って分類してその中でも多分日本人でも20種類くらいは魚の種類言えると思うよね
それは
What the?
それは学校で勉強したってこと？
いやてか毎日食べてるから赤身魚だったら例えばカツオとか
So tataki, my fave.
I love
カンパチ
カンパチ
サワラ
サワラ
ブリ
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 マグロ
あ
いや本当にピンときてる
If I see the picture of the fish, I will know that name too.
Yeah, true.
Right. Oh, I feel like if in a meat form, then I'd be able to know.
でもねそうかもしれないなんか日本人も魚の写真を見せられてこれこの種類の魚だねって言えるのは多分料理してる人が多いと思う魚釣り好きな人だから僕もお刺身とかで出てきたらあこの魚だねっていうのは分かる感じ
I mean, on top of that, you know, the average American does not eat raw fish. I mean, I know like a handful of people who just like, oh, I need it to be cooked in order to eat it.
ああ
Yeah, that's why it's like if you look at the meat, it's like, oh, this is uncooked. Put it on the grill.
Yeah.
そもそも生ものをあんまり食べないってことだよね、
まあ
そうよね
病気になるから。
日本は海が近いからっていうのもあるのかもしれないし、まあ、保存の技術がまあすごいのかもしれないけど魚をみんな一般的によく食べるから、お刺身とかも楽しむし、でそういう食べる機会が多いから魚の種類をよく知ってるんだろうね。
なるほど。
Yeah.
例えばさ、まあ、マグロは英語で
Tuna.
Tuna.
そうよね。ブリとかは
I don't know.
Isashiburi?
ブリって
Sorry.
ブリ調べたらイエローテールだ。
イエローテール
Huh?
Yellow. I've heard of yellow.
Hamachi? Isn't that hamachi?
Wait, what the hell?
Oh my goodness!
ブリもイエローテール、ハマチもイエローテールだ。ハマチとブリは同じ魚だけど大きさが違うだけだ。でもハマチは出生魚って言って子供の頃から大きさが変わっていくと名前も変わっていく魚。
It's like kind of like
ポケモン。
サンマは英語でサンマ。
Sama?
サンマ知らない。
Sama and kure.
Pacific Sour. What?
何それ
What?
だからこんな感じで魚の名前を英語で言っても分かんないってことね。
No idea.
No idea.
I don't know it in my own language either, let alone English.
中国語は
フィッシ
Yes, fish.
じゃあもう本当にカナダでもルーマニアでもマレーシアでもアメリカでも魚全然食べないってこと？
ュ食べるんだけど
Fish. It's fish.
If it's on the grill, we eat it in America.
I feel like in Canada, you know, we have oceans, right? So we can eat fish, but I think it's mostly salmon and like smoked salmon specifically. Cod, I never had cod, but that's on the East Coast. Cod, and then lobster. Those are like the main three seafood things that we eat in Canada. Yeah. But in Japan, it's like you eat
Yeah.
everything, right?
Right.
I guess this shows how, you know, the 食文化の違い,
そうなんだ
right? Because like even in Romania or I bet Malaysia too, I guess most people know maybe 4 or 5 names at best of fish. You know, the ones that are mostly eaten the most inside the country. But like because Japan eats fish so often and they have the culture of like sushi and sashimi, then it's so common that even the common person know what in our country only fishermen would know.
Yeah. なるほどね。
That's pretty true.
In Malaysia, we don't really eat a lot of seafood. We eat fish. Normally, we eat those come in the river, not the ocean.
Oh yeah, that's true.
River fish.
日本も川魚はね食べるけど、それより海の方がやっぱり多いのかな。
I feel like a lot of American dishes teeter on like fried fish a lot. Like in the South, we have like po' boys. It's like catfish. It's like a catfish, like fried catfish. Or we have gumbo in Louisiana. It's like a very big stew that has like fish in it. Or we have fish tacos and tartar sauce. Yeah.
Like I guess like in Japan, it's like a very narrow country, right? And so no matter where you are, you're not
Yeah.
that far from the
It's
ocean,
really-
right? But if you live in Edmonton, Alberta, in Canada, you're thousands of like kilometers away from the nearest body of water, and so any fish you eat in Alberta is kind of like ayashi, right? Because it would take a long time to get there.
Yes, yes.
実際日本来て回転寿司とか行くじゃん。でいろんな魚の種類あって、まあたくさん食べるでしょ。
そう
美味しくない？
美味しい。
美味しい美味しい美味しい。
超美味しい。
美味しいけど、何が食べたか覚えられない。
それそれそれそれ。
まあ適当にパッパッパッパッと注文する。
そう。
Right, right,
前これ食べた気がする、これ美味しいし。
さメニューにさ写真とかがなくてハマチとか書いてあってってなるとそうだね。
It's like you have maybe 3 choices. You either give up and like, I'll just order like randomly and like hope for the best.
Yes, yes.
怖すぎるなそれ。
Or just do 5 maguro.
外国人のお客さんが欲しいお寿司屋さん絶対写真載せましょうね。はい次お茶の種類。
Oh,
Hi.
yes, yes.
Oh, if I look at it, it's green tea. If it's brown, it's also green tea. If I look at it, it's like any other color, that's just green tea. Why? It's from Japan. To the average American, they can't really differentiate like between a lot of the teas because they're only used to like, oh, we're at a sushi restaurant, so we're gonna have green tea. They wouldn't have any other options besides that.
Yeah, that's true.
コーヒー茶とか玄米茶とか多分麦茶とか
Yeah, I had no idea what those
海外ないと
were.
思います
I guess like in North America at least, like there's like the umbrella tea, right? And like there's all the different kinds of tea underneath that, right? Technically, but I guess North Americans would just see that
The
as
impressions, yeah.
tea.
Just one tea, yeah.
It's just tea,
Everything just one
right?
マジ
Like
で
we can differentiate English teas. Like if you give me like a chamomile, or if you give me like a herbal lemon tea, like that's fine because I see that at the grocery store. But then if you put rice in my tea, I'd be like, huh? What?
Why
You
is
can
it
make-
rice in my tea?
Yeah, you can put rice in tea.
日本のコンビニとか行くと、ペットボトルでお茶がもうすごい種類あるじゃん、ほうじ茶、麦茶、ジャスミンティー、緑茶分かれてるけど、アメリカとかだったら例えばコンビニにまずお茶って売られてるの。
The only tea that I see at a konbini is called Arizona iced tea.
For 99 cents.
99 cent
But it's not-
Arizona
but it's
tea.
not actually 99 cents.
Yeah.
Arizona, I thought it's a state.
It is a state, but it's also the name of like you can have a nice Arnold Palmer, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
tea and lemonade mixed. It's another Arizona green tea, but we don't really have tea available in bottles. We have it in cans, and only that brand.
Yeah.
Cans?
Only that
Or
brand.
tea bags.
Tea bags.
It's very rare that you'd be able to buy it in a bottle.
Iced tea is a thing in America, but not like several kinds of tea. It's like very sweetened tea.
Oh, it's so
So sweet.
So
It's like
what-
you're drinking sugar.
Yeah.
緑茶もウーロン茶も紅茶も同じ葉っぱを使ってる。
Oh.
Oh.
どれだけ発酵してる状態かによってお茶の種類が変わってくる。 で麦茶とかはそもそもその葉っぱを使ってるんじゃなくて、大麦から作ってるみたいな、材料が違うみたいな感じで、っていう分類がまああんまないよってことね。
Yeah, I think it's mostly from black tea. Black tea, like if you're talking about iced tea, you use black tea. 10 cups of sugar and black tea mixed together is an American drink. But if you're in the Asian community inside of the United States,
That is very true.
tapioca, aka boba, is a very popular thing. So if you are Asian American, like myself, you frequent these places quite often, so your knowledge of tea is very vast and wide. Only if you are Asian. Well, sometimes like the occasional white person will go in, it's like, I want some boba. And they go in, they get like a jasmine tea with like pearls.
僕の中でタピオカってあんまお茶っていうカテゴライズされてないからさ。
It's like a phrase now. It's like, oh, you want to get some boba, and you're not really talking about pearls. You're just like, I want some tea. I want to get like a drink.
Oh, really?
Like, let's get some boba, yeah. And then he's like, you just got a plain jasmine tea, no sugar. It's like, yeah, it's both great.
That was an insane concept to me when I first came to Japan, finding out that like putting anything sweet or like sugar in tea is like a big no-no, especially if it's like green tea.
That's a no-no,
It's a no-no, yeah.
Oh.
It's a big no-no.
but it's sweeter.
Sweet is better.
That's why you get the sweets next to the tea.
Oh, would you like some?
Yeah.
How many lumps would you like in your tea? Oh yeah.
イギリス人の真似ね、それ。
What I was used to growing up when it comes to tea in my country, like you would put either sugar or honey. Honey is better usually, and lemon. Like you'd cut a part of the lemon and put like 2 slices of lemon inside the tea alongside the honey. Also, one more insane thing that I find in Japan is the fact that you can buy the tea at the konbini. Like there's so many types of tea that are in a plastic bottle, and I'm like, how do those survive? Like in Romania, you have Lipton tea that is kind of in a bottle that's more like a sweet drink than the tea. Like if you're drinking tea, you have to like make it either with the tea bag or like from the actual leaves. But like the idea of having the tea so widely spread in like plastic bottles, you can buy that company even hot tea in a plastic bottle. It's such an incredible concept to go around.
That just doesn't exist.
Yeah,
It seems to me that like what non-Asian countries' concept of tea is like you use a tea bag,
Yeah.
and that tea bag only has like a certain lifespan.
Yeah.
And if you use it, it's like you're done. Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
でコンビニに行ってもペットボトルで売ってるのが少ない
そう、ホッ
のと
トのない。
ホットがないってこと。
ない。
ホットないの辛いね。
いやでもマレーシアもホットがないよ。
マレーシアは一年中あったかいからじゃないコンビニにホットのペットボトル置いてあるじゃん。あれ、
Oh.
常温か冷たい。
あ、そうなんや。
めっちゃいいと思う。
That's really
まあ
good.
自販機にもなんかあったかいやつ
あ
だからだからそれは本当にいいと思う。
ないんだ。
No, I mean it's pointed out on with a lot of foreigners on TikTok. It's like, oh my God, Japan is so amazing.
Oh,
They
sure,
have
yeah.
the hot bottles at the convenience store, and also hot cans. It was so warm. I've seen that way too many times
Yeah, yeah.
on the internet, and they pointed out because it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Overseas, if you want to get like Asian tea, there's only like one brand available, and that's like Itoen.
あ、そうなん。
Yeah, yeah.
えー
At least in my experience, right, in Canada, right, Itoen's like the only brand that sells like green tea, or it's somehow imported into Canada, right? Like if you want to get Asian tea, it's like only Itoen. And Itoen, like the one kind of Itoen tea they get is just like regular ocha, right? I don't know if they sell any like other kinds of it, but like my friends, like I would live with my friends, right, and they would come home from the grocery store, yo, Aaron, look what I have. And they'd show me like Itoen tea. I'm like, oh, sick. They're like, is this dope? I'm like, yeah, it's ocha, it's great.
でも嬉しいよ、なんか伊藤園が海外に知られていると
いやいやいや
いう
いや。
次、
はい。
And then,
虫の名前。
おー、そうですね。
oh,
バズ。
バグ。
え、知らないの？
知らないっていう
知らない
か日本人結構なんていうのスペシフィック。例えばいやこの前友達遊んだ 時にカブトムシが出て、違うカブトムシじゃなくてそれや侍のやつ、カブトムシの形みたいに。
いやカブトムシはこうで、
そう
これはクワガタよ。
そう
クワガタ
その話が出て、みんなこれカブトムシでしょって言われて、違う
よ、これはそういうことね。
それはカブトムシビートルでしょ言ってて、ビートル全部同じじゃんって、これ違う、全然違う種類で言われました。僕にはカブトムシ
全部ビト
あ、そういうこと？全然わからんかったけどその少なくともマレーシアでは、カブトムシもクワガタも一緒なの。
全部ビートルですよ。
一緒？
ビートル、yeah.
君たちも？もう科が違う、スピーシーズが違うの。
あ、そう
だってクワガタはクワガタムシ科で、カブトムシはコガネムシ科なんだって。もうだから日本人からしたら全然違うよ。カブトムシの方がだいぶレベルが高い。クワガタより。子供の時さ、こうやってわーって取るじゃん。でその時にカブトムシが取れたら、見てこれカブトムシ取ったからって。そういうのしないの？
しない。
クモめっちゃ可愛いやつよ、ちっちゃいやつ。それ捕まって戦う。
そんなんやる日本はそれをカブトムシでやる。
全然違う。
でカブトムシでこう角でひっくりパーンって返
Oh,
して
right.
勝つみたいな。
But then again, I will say though, I feel like Japan has a lot of cool bugs though.
True.
And it's
Yeah.
also like really insane bugs.
They make
So I feel like
Japanese spider.
yeah, just like crazy, because like in Canada's cold, right? It's just too cold for a lot of bugs to really exist, except for annoying flies and stuff like that. But in Japan, it's like the climate is like temperate enough and it's not so extreme that like all these different amazing bugs can thrive and survive, right? So you have things like the massive spiders like this big.
And the freaking Susume Bachis, like holy shit.
Insane bugs.
Japanese killer wasp.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy hornets and
Yeah,
stuff like
it's
that.
it's huge, right? It's like fucking
Yeah.
that.
Like they have like prehistoric like bugs still existing. It's nuts.
Yeah.
そうなの？そんなに虫いないの？
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I think that like bugs with their size have to deal with the temperate area, right?
Yeah.
So then if the humidity is at a high level, then the bugs have more ability to like be bigger and thrive. That's why there's so many big bugs in Australia. And then because like for a Japanese like kankaku, if you're talking about like a caterpillar, right? For Americans, like, oh, a rectangular caterpillar, right? No, they're talking about freaking this.
Yeah.
They're going about this in Japan.
No, but yeah, I think it's cool though because like when you're a kid in Japan, you go catch bugs all the time. That's like pastime, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I remember when I was a kid, I would do that in Kobe, right? But then you move to Canada, no bugs, or there's no cool bugs to catch, right?
Yeah.
They're all gross bugs, and so you don't want to touch them.
True.
Right.
True.
And so it's because like in Japan, you have like the box, right? You catch them, you put them in the box, you put a bunch of grass in there, even though they don't eat the grass. You put a bunch of grass in there and think, oh, they'll survive, right? But you put them in there, and it's like, oh, it's so fun and exciting, right? But in Canada, you just don't do that because it's winter for half the year, and you get nasty bugs.
カブトムシとかは捕まえません。
はい
その次に捕まえるのはセミなんよね。日本って。
これじゃない。
それカマキリね。セミが2番目に来て、3番目に蝶々ね、バタフライ。
なんで一番綺麗な虫を3番目にするの？
You know what is interesting? So like when I was playing Animal Crossing, right? Like Dobutsu no Mori, right? That's the only way I found out about cicadas, right? And then you can hear it in your game because like you can hear that. And I was like, do they really make that sound? This is such like a weird game. Like I came to Japan and then those things are so loud, but it's the exact same thing in the game. It's the exact same sound. I'm just like, no wonder they got clean audio of this.
Let's go outside.
So freaking loud.
セミいないの？
Well, there are, but I mean, it's not as loud as that.
Like, I thought the grasshoppers during summer are loud in my country, but now I don't think that anymore. Like, compared to cicadas, they are like barely touching the sound.
If you go to like a forested area with like a few trees, it's so loud.
Yeah.
Right? It's like white noise.
さっき言ったカブトムシとかセミとか蝶々とかも全部捕まえないんだ。逆にみんなが思う日本人これ知らないなっていうことあったりする？
ある。Zodiac signs.
あ、
星座。
星座知ってるよ。でも天秤座だし。
So is it similar to like your
Blood type.
Yeah, blood type in the way
Yeah.
that it
Question.
determines your personality. So say for example,
yeah.
like
そういうこと
say
Yes.
I'm a Cancer, so that means I'm avoidant or some nonsense like
Yeah.
that.
If you're a Scorpio, you should never be friends with that person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're a Taurus,
Yeah.
if you're a Taurus, you're stubborn and you're
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're a bull. You're a bull. You're a Taurus. You like always like to fight people.
Yeah.
アメリカもカナダとかもって
yeah.
Uh,
ルーマニアも。
いや、マレーシアそんなにないんですよね。
おういやなんか僕のイメージっていうか多分日本人のイメージは中国の人は結構その星座とかを、まあ、占いとかもするから信じてるイメージあるけどアメリカとかも
Yeah, なんか意外とめっちゃ深い。
Yeah,
なんか
and like you have like the overall personality of the zodiac sign, right? If you're this zodiac, you have these traits, right? But then you also have the monthly zodiac. It's like every month, like this is what will happen to you this month or even this
Your
week, and they would do it.
fortune.
Yeah, your fortune. 番組の中での一つの企画で毎週か毎月は専門家みたいな人が来て、はい。今月は何とか座はこういうものがあるだろうと。で、この人はこの座は逆にこういうことがありますよ。説明されます。
だから
12個
そうだからこれを注意してくださいって。
そう。
yeah.
And then you have the even most 細かい whereas like it depends like when is your birthday.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to know what hour you were born as well.
マジで
Yeah.
And also depends like the shape of the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where the stars align at that specific
Yeah.
moment
Yeah.
and where you were born too.
Yeah.
Right, because everyone is born like at a very specific time, right? Like say like 5:34 a.m.
Yeah.
0.8 seconds or something
And the
like that. And so-
constellations are consistently moving.
Yeah, so depending on when you're born and where location, where like, the stars are aligned and stuff like that,
Yeah, where the
that
planets are.
somehow like determines your personality.
Correct.
And people will be like in dating profiles, like I'm looking for my half moon rising Scorpio, and if you're not that, off, right?
Yeah.
まず星座は生まれる月で決まるよねでそれに何時で生まれて、どんな月の形かみたいなのも情報として加わってそれをテレビに出てくる人がちゃんと説明してくれるってこと
そう。
やばよく日本でやるのは、この星座とこの星座の人はちょっと相性がいいかもみたいな
Yeah, we have that too.
Yeah, we have that too.
それ多分基本だと思う。
あそれがベース
Yeah.
But maybe it appears to me that only like in the past like 5 or 10 years has this thing gotten like really deep, right? It seems to me that like a lot of people like are talking about it now. Like I went to a wedding like last year, and this girl was talking about like, I'm this and this and this. I don't remember what she said, but she's like I'm this and this and this, and therefore my boyfriend has to be this and this and this.
Right.
And I'm like, what is this? Yeah.
めっちゃ可愛いな好きだなって思う女の子いるとするじゃん
Okay.
その子が自分とこう星座があんまり合わない星座だって分かったら
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
マジで
There are people who are like 本気で。
まあ大体何%くらいそういう人いるの
From the people that I've talked to, it's a 50% chance that like they do believe it or they don't.
Yeah, it's kind of like slightly more than half.
そうなんや日本人の血液型まあ合ってない血液型ってよく言われるけど、でも別にそこまで気にしないのよ O 型だからね B 型だからねとかって言われるけど相性が悪いからっつってもう無理だねとかは絶対ならないけど
Yeah.
そういうのもありえるんよね
ありえる。
Yeah. My mom's always like, you need to find another Leo.
そうなんや
Yeah.
はいということで今日は外国人も不思議に思う日本人がよく知っていることについて話をしてみました
どうだった
どうだった？
魚とかもさ日本人の方がよく魚食べるし、その加工されてない状態の魚をよく食べる、じゃん特に生魚とかね、生魚食べたら魚の身が、まあ、いろんな種類も食べれるしその実際に見るから揚げられてるでしょ、大体海外って、だからその種類に関しても敏感になるんかなと思うしお茶の種類とかも僕らがよくお茶を飲むから、まあ、詳しくなるのかなと思ってだからその知識の違いは文化の違いなんだなと思ってなんか面白かったよね、
確かに。
皆さんが思う日本人がよく知ってることもしあればコメント欄までお願いします。あと僕らに話してほしいトークテーマがあればそれもコメント欄までよろしくお願いします。
トピックはないから
何
トピックはないからね
それでは次の動画でまたお会いしましょう。
バイバイ
チャンネル
と
6
お願い
します。